Bonjour, Felice.
Bonjour.
You're from the United States, but you moved 40 years ago, I think, in Tel Aviv, Israel.
Yes, more than 40 years ago I moved to Israel.
Okay, so you're international, and I've met you in Paris here because you work on that opera show as a light worker.
As a light designer.
I was going to say you're responsible for the whole light for the opera called A Quiet Place.
Yes,
and I
it's by Leonard Bernstein.
Leonard Bernstein or Bernstein. So I was wondering, can you tell me about this work that you're doing as a light designer for this show? What is it?
Lighting designer, basically, without light, you don't see anything. So I'm actually the person, together with the director, who decides how the audience sees the production, what we see in the production. My biggest joke when I meet a new actor or singer is that they better be nice to me, because if they want their mother to see them, I can decide.
Because otherwise they stay in the shadow?
They can stay in the shadow, they can be green, they can be... And the same thing goes for sets and costumes. The lighting can change everything.
So basically you make the stars shine.
Hopefully I make the stars shine. And what I usually say about lighting is that it's the glue. It comes at the last part of the production, because the set designer has been working, the costume designer has been working, the director has been working with the singers. And when we arrive on stage, that's the first time that the lighting actually comes, that we can see the lighting. I've been working on this production for more than a year. But the actual seeing the lighting in the production happens usually 10 days to 2 weeks before the production premieres. And so I call it the glue that takes all the elements in the production and brings it all together and makes it one piece for the audience to see. It takes the music, it takes the mise en scène, it takes the decor, the set, the costumes, and brings it all together into one piece. Okay,
I didn't say, but the director is Kent Nagano, is from California.
He's the conductor.
The conductor,
okay. The conductor is Kent Nagano. He's a very famous conductor from California.
Yes, and the director is a different...
is Krzysztof Walkowski, who is I've been working with him since 1998.
Okay.
He's a theater director and an opera director.
Okay. So how long does it take for you to work on that show as the light designer? You said a year?
Well, in the opera, we usually we have to present already a year before the ideas. So the set designer has already designed the set.
Okay.
And then we come to the stage, and there's a presentation of the production. Once I have the plans for the stage, then I have to start making a plan for the lighting. If it's special things that I need, if it's special lights within the set, I have to formulate my concept of how I'm going to light this show. So it starts about a year before.
Does it depend on what the show says or is about?
Mm-hmm. Lighting can do everything. Lighting can tell the time of day, the season, the moods, if we're happy, if we're sad, if we're angry.
So for A Quiet Place, who's from the guy who did West Side Story, how is the light for A Quiet Place compared to, for example, West Side Story?
West Side Story is different, because West Side Story is a musical.
Yes.
And Quiet Place is an opera, although it has a lot of, it's it's a modern opera, right? So it's not your classical opera, and it's also not staged as a classical opera, which you will see tonight.
Yeah.
And
I saw there is a car. It's in the show, no?
No car in the show.
No car.
Not in this one. We do have one next year in a different production that we're doing, but
okay.
No. In this one, there's no car, but I don't want to give away where the car. There is a car, but it's not really a car.
But so the light is linked to the story itself?
Always. Always. Okay. There's a dramaturgy in my lighting when I'm telling a story with my lighting as well.
Ah, okay. And you decide about this, or you have to
I
get...
decide together with the director.
Okay.
We work together as a team, and we build how we want the whole spectacle to look, and what kind of story we're telling throughout,
Okay.
in which scene, what we want to portray, how we want to develop what's happening. It's like anything, it's the same way that the director works with the actors or the singers, creating, let's say, a character. The lighting is another actor on stage.
Okay.
You, hopefully, in most cases, it's the supporting actor, in my opinion. Rarely do I want the lighting to scream, lighting, 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 lighting. There are places that you do, of course, want it to be. But I'm helping. The biggest compliment I can get is when a singer or an actor comes to me and says, "It's so good to act in your lighting." That's...
And how would you define in one word the lighting you've tried to create for this show?
Well, it's once again, it's supporting the story, and it's a combination of supporting the story and what we're seeing on stage.
Okay.
So there's a lot of movement, but it's not like crazy musical movement. There are different scenes, there are different things happening on stage. So of course it's also a visual. I have to show, we want to see what's happening on stage, so it's a visual, but how we want to see it. So it's hard for me to say exactly how it's different than other
You wouldn't
things.
describe it in just one word?
No.
Like trashy or
No.
quiet or...
No, because it has all different things in it.
Okay.
It's constant. It's a changing atmosphere all the time.
Okay.
Like always.
How many people do you work with in the light
In
department?
the light department. When I come to an opera like this, first of all, there's the general chief of the lighting, and so a year before I have the meeting with him to say what I need. And then finally, when I come actually to the stage, I have a crew chief, the chef d'équipe, and then I have, I don't even know how many people are working on stage, a lot. Because we have, all the lighting is in a special computer,
Okay.
Judog, and so there are people that work on the computer. I sit with the chef d'équipe in the audience, and he has headsets together with the person who's upstairs in the lighting booth, and we tell that person what to program in the computer for each state of lightings that we create. So we have them, and we have at least, I don't know how many people on stage I don't even know. And then I have also poursuite. So I have 2 people on a poursuite, moving the lights.
What is it, poursuite?
A poursuite is a light that, like, for example, if you see in musicals, when a person has this round light around and it's following them all over the place.
Okay.
It's called a follow spot in English, and a poursuite in French.
Okay, in French. I thought that was a French word for English.
No, it's poursuite in French.
Okay. So it's all computerized.
It's all computerized except
way
for the
you
poursuite. Yeah. It's all computerized. And that way I work until the premiere. On the night of the premiere, I take a bow. And then it's the chef d'équipe, the crew chief's job to make sure that every time it's played, it looks exactly the same.
And it seems like it's a pretty international field. Like the conductor is from one place, the chief...
Opera is totally international.
So how
all
come...
the singers come from all different places in the world.
How did you end up on that show then? Who calls you?
I work with the director. The director, Krzysztof Walikowski,
Okay.
I led all his productions, all of his opera and all of his theater productions.
Okay,
So
and
he's the one that brought me. We work as a team since 2000, 1998, 2000. So we work as a team on every production that we do.
where is
More
he
than
from?
50 productions. He's from Poland.
Okay.
And I met him, he came to Israel to direct a show in 1998, and that's when I met him.
And how is it to travel like this internationally? in these days of hard travel? And
In the days of COVID, it's harder to travel these days. I mean, the permission that you need a lot of times, the tests, et cetera, it's getting easier now. But I was traveling during really at the height of COVID as well.
does it have an impact on the lighting for
the
shows?
lighting?
On the lighting,
For
sorry.
shows. It depends on how tired I am or how upset I am. No, I'm just teasing. No, I can't. But I've already been several times. We've started shows and we were sent home because of COVID, and the show never happened, which is really depressing.
Yeah, and does it have an impact on the audience, because people are it's also harder to get in places to see
I think so.
cultural things.
Now we're playing to full audiences, but in the beginning of COVID, the first production actually with the same team, we were in the Salzburg Festival. It was the only festival that didn't cancel in the beginning of COVID, and then of course people were totally masked and they were sitting one seat yes, one seat no, so it was half capacity of people.
Okay.
And they've stopped, now it's coming back, but they stopped having entr'actes, so people don't mingle.
Mix. Okay.
Right. But now it's coming back, hopefully
And
it'll come back to normal.
do you see your career going the same way, or is it going to affect the work as a light designer?
COVID?
Yeah.
Hopefully,
just the
it's pretty
future.
much coming back now.
Okay.
It's coming back to life, even a lot, because a lot of the productions that were postponed are coming back now. So things are hopefully coming back, as long as there's not a new wave of COVID or other things that are happening in the world now,
Yes,
like
yeah.
Third World War. That'll affect big time.
I was going to ask, because of this, maybe it's going to sound like a crazy question, but being a light worker, like I said, designer, but I said worker because there is this idea that in times of darkness, there is the light. We look for the light.
But theater is the light.
Yeah, exactly.
Theater is the light, so as long as we have theater and culture, that's the light.
But I was going to ask you, what brought you into that field originally, into the light?
Yeah, I grew up in New Jersey, which is next to New York, and I always loved theater, but never wanted to be on stage. And then when I was 15, we moved to a different city, and I saw that in the school, they had a theater department, and there was something called the technical team. So I went to the meeting, and the teacher who was in charge told me that there's no insurance for females on the crew. And at that time, you just had to tell me that. I was out for a fight. And to make a long story short...
When was that?
Oh, a long time ago. I'm not saying how many years.
Okay.
I've been doing this since I'm 15, and it's a lot. I've been doing it for a long time.
Okay.
I've done hundreds of shows.
And so you were challenged by
So
the
I was
fact...
challenged by that, and I went to the principal of the school, who said, "That's nonsense, fight for it." I went back to the teacher. He said, "Oh, but everybody else knows about theater, 15-year-old kids." And he made my life hell for the first half, and then he made me co-captain of the crew. So I'm sure that I'm the only one that went into it professionally. And so at that time I was doing everything in technical theater, and then immediately I fell in love with lighting. And I'm a totally privileged person because, as I say, I've been doing it for a long time, and I still, every time I go on stage, I get a buzz. Every time I turn on the first light, and before every premiere, I have butterflies in my stomach.
Why did you fall in love with the lighting?
Because it's magic. The lighting makes the magic in theater.
Okay, so you said there isn't too many women in lighting?
Nowadays there are. There are a lot more women now than there were originally, but actually, as I always tell the story, that up until a woman called Jeannie Rosenthal in the States, lighting was always done by the technicians who were in the theater. And Jeannie Rosenthal, she created the profession of lighting designer, so that it was separate from the lighting team in the theater. And she lit all the Martha Graham dances and all the musicals that were happening in the 50s. So you have to say that she's actually the mother of my profession.
Okay, where is she from?
America, from the States, New York. And but afterwards it was a big time that it was mostly a male nowadays it's changed a lot, and there are a lot of females on on the technical crews.
So would you recommend that profession to a girl who would want to be a light
Oh,
designer?
definitely.
Yeah.
Of course.
Does it get, do you get to travel a lot?
I travel all the time because I work mostly in Europe, but I travel. I've worked in Korea, Japan, South Africa, all over.
Okay.
And I travel a lot. I'm based in Israel, but I'm always traveling. In non-COVID times, I travel a lot back and forth.
So if you like traveling, if you like the lights, if you like culture, opera, theater, music, it's the
yes.
perfect profession.
It is.
And in terms of, I'm sorry, but just how it pays, is it like depending on shows or like?
I'm an independent
Okay.
worker. I have an independent company. It's myself, and so it depends on where I'm working, of course, and it depends on what which kinds of productions I'm doing.
We have some visitors that we
Yes.
see in the mirror. Okay,
Okay.
merci,
Okay, thank
Toda.
you. Merci.
Thank you and good luck for
Okay.
tonight.
Merci.